everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I, of course, am just another heavy metal maniac, and today I am very excited to bring you all yet another album review. So today I'm going to be discussing the newest offering from Sacrifice, entitled Volume 6. Now, as the title would imply, this is the 6th studio album from this Canadian thrash metal band from Toronto, Ontario. A legendary thrash metal band, one of the Canadian Big Four alongside Annihilator, Voivod, and Razor. And dare I say, this band is the best of the Canadian Big Four. That might be a bit of a controversial opinion because I know a lot of people love Annihilator and Voivod, and don't get me wrong, those bands are fantastic. But there's something about Sacrifice that I simply just love. For one, I think they're the most consistent band of the Canadian Big Four. They have no bad albums. Dare I say, they don't have even any mediocre or just okay albums. Every Sacrifice album ranges from good to fucking thrashterpiece. And also, to me, Sacrifice, when it comes to thrash songwriting, these guys are frankly not only very underrated, but they are almost unparalleled. Like, these guys seriously have a great knack for writing songs that are catchy, but also very intense, but also have great dynamics in them, like different, sections, and dare I say, they almost flirt with progressive songwriting on a few of their albums. So yeah, overall, I just really, really love this band, and I was very, very eager. I was eagerly anticipating this release. And this is their first album in 16 years. Their fifth album, The Ones I Condemn, came out all the way back in 2009, and that I thought was a really killer comeback album. So yeah, it's been quite a while since then. And first of all, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, I think this album is fucking great. I really, really enjoyed listening to this album. This is, if you were a fan of Sacrifice before this album, you're gonna be a fan of Sacrifice now, because this album is just Sacrifice doing what they do, which is writing kick-ass thrash metal songs that also have, again, great dynamics and just a fantastic songwriting, really. So yeah, some standout tracks for me would definitely be the song Comatose, that's the opening track, and that song's pretty kick-ass. Missile is a really cool song. Underneath Millennia. Incoming Mass Extinction, which is one of the shorter tracks on the album. That song is really kick-ass. That song's very, very intense. I really like that song. Overall, this album is only 38 minutes long, too. I know there's like kind of a 40-minute version that has like a bonus track, but that's just like cover, but the one I listened to is just the normal version. But yeah, only 38 minutes long, so really not an awful lot not too much to digest unlike compared to some other kind of like thrash metal bands, where a lot of modern thrash bands have albums that are like over 50 minutes long, which I kind of don't really understand necessarily, because to me, that thrash metal should be kind of focused on just like kind of intensity and kind of shorter albums, in my opinion. Usually, there's always exceptions, but yeah, only 38 minutes long, so really not too much to digest. And overall, I just think the songwriting on this album is really great. All the riffs on this album are super cool. They're catchy. They're earwormy. But again, Sacrifice has a knack for dynamics, and they have a knack for writing songs that are not only intense, but they're also very catchy, and again, they stand apart from one another. Like, none of these tracks I find blended together really at all. All the songs stand apart from one another. And frankly, Rob Urbanati's vocals, he sounds great on this album. Like, his voice really has not aged that much, in my opinion, which I think is kind of crazy, because Rob Urbanati, I'm not sure of his exact age, but I would have to assume he's either like late 50s or early 60s. But yeah, his vocals sound great. This band has pretty much had the same lineup since the beginning, pretty much. And yeah, all these guys, none of them are slacking, right? They're all putting in a great performance. Gus Ping delivers a really, really solid drum performance, and Rob and Rico are putting in just awesome riffs. I will say, kind of a maybe minor complaint I have with this album is that there are 2 instrumental tracks on this album, Lunar Eclipse and Black Hashish. Which I would say those 2 tracks kind of mess with the pacing of the album a little bit. Lunar Eclipse kind of comes in right after Incoming Mass Extinction, which really I feel like you could have maybe put those 2 songs together instead of just making them like individual tracks, because they do just kind of bleed in together a little bit. And then Black Hashish is the longest song on the album. It's 6.5 minutes long, and dare I say it's probably kind of the more progressive song on this album. Which I do like it, but again, I feel like it kind of messes with the pacing of the album just a little bit. That's really my only complaint with this album, though. I really like the production on this album. It's a little more modern sounding, but it's not like overproduced. It's not like overly kind of, it's not overly polished. It's not like a lot of more modern thrash metal production. where, you know, it's kind of the like kind of that Andy Sneap style production that a lot of the old school thrash metal bands kind of go for, and a lot of those albums kind of do sound the same. Not that I necessarily have a problem with like Andy Sneap's production for thrash bands, but I do kind of wish there was kind of more variety in like modern thrash production a lot of the time. This sounds really good. Like, frankly, this is just like, again, it's a little more modern sounding, but it's not overly clean or overly polished. It still has all that old school dirt and grit that you need for an album like this. And yeah, overall, I really dig this album. So far, this is definitely my favorite thrash metal album of the year. If I had to give it a rating, I'd honestly give it 4 stars. Like, 4 out of 5, because I think this is just a kick-ass album. Again, my only real minor complaint is just with the instrumental tracks on here, which the instrumental tracks on their own are good, but they just kind of mess with the pace of the album a little bit. But otherwise, this is a seriously kick-ass thrash album. Yeah, like I said, if you were a fan of Sacrifice before this, check this out. You're gonna dig it. If you have never heard Sacrifice before, first of all, change that right away, because what are you doing with your life? But yeah, if you are a fan of like Razor, Slayer, definitely Annihilator, if you're a fan of just like old school thrash metal and you don't know this band, definitely check them out. I would say maybe start with For Determination, I think that, or Soldiers of Misfortune, which I think are their 2 best albums personally. But honestly, you can start with any Sacrifice album, because this band is just consistently kick-ass. So yeah, Volume 6 by Sacrifice, to put it bluntly, this album kicks ass, and yeah, I frankly love it. I can't wait to jam it more and more over and over again. And well, that concludes this short little album review for the newest album from Sacrifice, entitled Volume 6. If you made it to the end of this video, you are awesome, and I appreciate you. Do consider leaving a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below. Tell me, do you agree? What are your thoughts on this album? Tell me down in the comments below. Do you agree with my assessment? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the comments. If you're not subscribed, do consider subscribing, because I do have a lot more content coming your way. And, well, that about does it. I am just another Heavy Metal Maniac. I'll see you all sometime in the future. In the meantime, all of you take care and have a great day. So long.